Right, this is the easiest way to scale past $100 per day. If you've ever been stuck at $100 per day on your e-commerce store, maybe you can't make enough profit, or every single time you increase your ads, you end up losing the profit that you made from the previous day. This is the easiest way to break past that point. So if you're currently running an e-commerce store, I'm going to walk through a lot of stuff in this video to kind of help you understand exactly how and why this is happening. Now, I ended up working with this brand for about a year, and you can see I've gone through this in multiple other videos. I'm not here to prove to you that this is true. I'm here to prove to you and show to you how to actually do this yourself, right? So I was doing about $5,000 per day. This isn't my brand. I was running the ads for this brand, right? $5,000 per day for this brand. And one of the things I learned was how to actually sustain this over an entire year. So this dotted line here is the previous year, right? So for the most part, the revenue numbers are pretty much the same. And what you want to do is you want to be able to build a brand that you can rely on the income, okay? And $100 per day isn't really enough to be able to do that. And more importantly, you want to be able to scale that brand to a level that you're happy with, where you can continue to make money. Now, the first thing that you need to realize is you've not been told how to actually do this, right? Every single video out there on YouTube is teaching you how to start, okay? And you've done that. You've now started. Congratulations, you're making sales from your store. But the problem is you can't apply those same strategies for starting to actually maintain a brand, right? There's a very different set of rules for actually starting an e-commerce brand and actually maintaining an e-commerce brand, right? I'm going to show you the real reason why your store is losing money, why it is every single time you try and scale your ads, you end up losing profit, or why it is one day you're making profit, the next day you're not, or you end up burning through all your profit. So the net margin at the end of the week, you've not made anything, maybe you've lost money. And I'm also going to show you the secret that $1 million brands do not want you to know and how they're able to sustain growth like this. So currently, this is you, right? You are making money, but your e-com store keeps failing, right? But you want to be in a position where you're making a lot of money from your e-commerce store, right? You want to take it from $100 per day to $1,000 per day, right? Because you've done the maths and you know at a 20% margin, you can go from $20 profit per day to $200 profit per day. And $200 profit per day, you can afford to quit your job. But more importantly, you need to make sure that if you do that, you can sustain that growth all year round. And that's what I'm going to try and show you in today's video. So I'm going to show you how you can guarantee that you can beat your competition. This here is a little reminder for me. I don't have time for this video to go through as much detail as I want. So I am doing a free training. If you go ahead and click wherever it is up here, there's a card or down below in the description. You can get a free course which will teach you how to scale your e-commerce store past $100 per day. But also I'm going to do a free training as well where I'm going to do a whole case study into a multi-million-dollar a year brand that I worked with. So you might be able to get some extra value from that if you go ahead and sign up to that. Okay, so what we really need to do is understand where you're going wrong, okay? This is what you've been doing wrong this entire time. You have started to basically bring on customers, okay? This is your customer base. They're sort of floating around in the ether. You spend some money on ads to bring those customers in. They pay your store, and now you're making a little bit of revenue from your business, which is great, right? We're all happy about this because we all like to make money. But the problem is, every single person who comes to your business is now joining a leaky bucket. This leaky bucket is representing your business, your website, and your brand. The problem that you have is every single customer that comes into the business, comes into your leaky bucket, some of them end up falling out the bottom, okay? And these are people who are actually causing your business to fail, okay? These people are people that end up falling through the net and falling through the cracks. And in other words, right, this person didn't get their product on time, okay? Or this person, you never shipped their order. Or this person has emailed you 20 times and hasn't yet got a response. Or maybe this person's decided to leave a bad review, okay? And these are the people that are causing your business to fail. And the reason this is happening is because when you started your business, you didn't basically seal your bucket. You didn't make sure it was leak proof. So although a lot of your customers that are coming into your business are actually getting their products on time and they are actually happy, right? The small majority of people that leak and fall through that bucket are the ones that are actually causing your business to fail. Now, it seems weird, right? Because you'd have thought if I can't scale past $100 per day, that's a marketing problem, right? There's a problem there with how much I spend on ads and how my advertising strategy is set up and the creatives and all of that stuff. But in reality, the problem is caused by these people because what they do is they go ahead and complain, or they sap the time and energy from you and your business. And as a result, you end up building an unsustainable business, right? So I'm going to try and explain this the best I can, but I will go through this more detail in the free training. So imagine this is a graph, right, of sort of work put in versus time, and also this is revenue, right? So we'll do work and also revenue, okay, that you're making over time, and then this is time. Now, the problem that you have is right at the start, you put a huge amount of effort in. Let's do some different colors, okay? So we're going to go for, here, we're going to go for blue is the amount of effort that you put in. So first of all, when you start building a business, a huge amount of effort is put in finding the products and building the store. Once you've built the store, now what you do is you spend a little bit of time working on ads and building some ads and kind of fluttering around until eventually you've kind of done most of your effort because you set your ads up. Now, I'm assuming that you're running ads. If you are promoting your store through posting content, every now and again, you will do a bit of work to post one of those pieces of content. And the same thing goes when you're running ads, okay, because you're also creating new content for your ads, right? So this is kind of what the work looks like over time. You're very heavy on the front end, but you've done it in a very, very short amount of time, right? This is like maybe 3 to 7 days, because you know that this area here is where you're making the money. Okay, because now if we draw the money graph, which we're going to make green because it's easier to see, what happens is you're not making any money at all because obviously your store hasn't been built. You then launch your ads and suddenly you're making money very, very quickly, okay? Because you've now, well, relatively to zero, right? This could be $50 per day, this could be $100 per day, this could be $5 per day, but the point is you're making money, okay, from your store. The problem comes with how quickly you end up scaling, okay? Because as you start to make money from your store, you start to increase the amount of money or amount of time that you're spending, as you start to make money from your store, you start to increase the amount of money that you're spending on ads, right? Now, you would see an increase in work, obviously, but it's not huge relative to the initial setup costs of your store. And you end up growing your store very, very quickly. But at a certain point, your revenue levels off and you start to lose your customers, okay? Because now, at this point, let's go back to the other color, okay? At this point, the work that you're doing starts to increase. And the reason it starts to increase, this is looking very messy, but the reason that work starts to increase is because you didn't front load your business with the correct amount of work, right? Yes, you built the product pages. Yes, you built the brand. Yes, you did the product research and started the ads, but you didn't build a proper support system to stop these people coming through and causing a leaky bucket. In other words, the people that are coming through here who are angry with your business, that are complaining, leaving bad reviews, they are causing this downwards turn in your business. So now you're having to spend a huge amount of time, and the reason this happens, right, is because you're spending a huge amount of time actually trying to resolve the problems that these people have, right? So the amount of time that you're having to spend on your business increases and the amount of time that you're spending on marketing decreases, right? So if we draw this as a different graph, so this graph is slightly clearer, okay? You've got 3 lines, okay? You've got your marketing, working on your business, and also the revenue and profit, right? So first of all, I'm a bit colorblind, this is difficult, right? So this one, I think is this line here, right? So the amount of time that you spend on marketing right at the start is very, very minimal, because obviously when you're actually building your business, right, you don't need to be spending any time on marketing, because in this period here, you're building your store, okay, which is working in your business, okay? So here, this period of time, you're spending a huge amount of time working in your business, and this is building product pages, this is doing product research, getting product images, all of the boring stuff, okay? Now, you've front-loaded that side of your business, okay? Because realistically, right, at this point here, you're not doing a huge amount of work in your business, okay? So you've front-loaded your time, maybe 1 to 2 days is heavy work on the business. But in your mind, right, you know that you need to get into marketing as quickly as possible. So what you do is you end up starting to market. As you start to market, you start to make more money from your business and you get a nice upwards trajectory. But what happens is you're a one-man band, right? So the more time you spend on marketing, the less time you spend working in your business or working on the important things in setting up structures and foundations in your business. Okay, so you're spending more and more time, which means you're spending less and less time working in the business. But at a certain point, what happens is you kind of reach this sort of threshold where you spend so little time working in your business and working on the problems that are happening, right? Because I could add another color to this, but we're going to have so many bloody bell curves. What happens is we also see an increase in the number of problems in our business, okay? And the problems are going to rise sort of exponentially like this, okay? So we're going to add in a graph like this. So basically, as you start to see more problems arise in your business, you can now spend less time on marketing and have to then start working back in your business again, right? So this is this bit here. Now we're starting to work back in our business because our problems have started to kind of get out of control, right? And these problems are caused by these people who are leaving disputes, or they want refunds, or you realize that you now need to hire a customer support team because you didn't hire one at the start because you've just started your business. So now what happens is the amount of time that you're spending on marketing drops and the amount of time you're spending working in your business and dealing with problems increases, which means your revenue and your profit starts to drop until eventually you kind of reach a point where, this is very simplified, but you reach a point where it all gets out of hand and your business fails, okay? And this is what's happening, right? When you can't scale past $100 per day, right, that is kind of this cap here, right? You're currently sitting at this point, right? This is you right now, okay? Or you are at this point. You're kind of on the way up and you're about to start coming down again. So how do we make sure this doesn't happen to us? Because at the end of the day, right, we want to build a long-term business. We don't want an unsustainable business. We want a sustainable business, okay? So your entire career, you've been told that you need to look for another winning ad strategy or winning product, right? If you're in this position, most people will instantly go into the state of, I need to find a winning product, right? Or I need to start running new ads, or I need to find a new ad strategy. The second thing you've been told is, right, you've been distracted filling holes in your business, okay? Like I just showed you in this graph, right? You spend all of your time fixing these problems, whereas reality says you should have actually fixed these problems before you even started, right? And that comes from experience, right? And then also you've not been building longevity into your business, because you have been building e-commerce because you want to make money, right? You've been building your e-commerce business because you want to get, not necessarily like a cash grab, but you want to get as much money coming in as quickly as possible, which is why you ended up spending a very short amount of time at the beginning and jumped straight into marketing. And that's basically the wrong way to do things, okay? Now, I'm going to go through this in a lot more detail. If you haven't already, go ahead and click up here or down below and go ahead and register for the free training that I'm doing later this week, because there is a lot more that goes into this. But you end up with a lot of unhappy customers, okay? Because, right, going back to these graphs, as I start to scale and I spend more time on marketing and bring on more and more customers, this leaky bucket, right, not only develops more holes in the leaky bucket, right, not only do we start to actually, I don't know if we can actually delete anything like this. Never mind, right? As we start to delete, sorry, I'm getting distracted here. As we start to scale our business, we get more holes in our bucket, right? Which obviously means that we're going to get more and more unhappy customers, which is obviously causing us a problem in our business. We get more and more unhappy customers, which means eventually our ecom store is going to fail. So instead, what we need to do is cultivate an audience that will love us. We need to cultivate an audience which will continue to buy from our business, and we need to make sure that we're not building a leaky bucket. So beforehand, this is currently what you're working on. This is currently your business model. First of all, you found a winning product, right? That's fine. Okay, you need to find a product to sell. It doesn't necessarily need to be a winning product, but whatever, right? You throw together a very basic store. You spend a few days building a store, right? And whether you're just starting out or you've built multiple stores before, you probably haven't spent enough time on the store. But even if you have, you've put a store together, right? You're running some ads and you're starting to get some sales. And this is great, Finally, things are starting to work out for you. You're starting to make some money from e-commerce, and suddenly you think, this could be the future. I could actually have a profitable business. But at a certain point, you hit a cap, right? And I've written $300 a day here, but the point is the number doesn't matter. The fact of the problem is you hit a cap and you can't scale past this, right? And you've done the maths. If you hit, $10,000 a day in revenue, you're going to make £2,000 a day in profit, right? But you can't get past this number, okay? Finally, you continue to push new products, you try new ad strategies, try new landing pages, you spend all of your time fixing problems, customers start to get ignored, you start to spend more time basically trying to solve the problem, right? You spent time actually working in your business as the business is starting to as problems start to arise. So then as like a final ditch effort, you start to ignore those problems and focus exclusively on customers, okay? And then one day you make profit, the next day you don't, until finally your store fails, okay? That is like the current model. Now, after you introduce what I'm going to go through the rest of this video and in the live training, you're going to find a winning product, right? You're going to build a brand, but focusing here right on a brand, and I'm going to go through what this means, right? You're going to set up proper foundations. You're going to cultivate a community. These are people who are going to keep coming back and purchasing products from your store, okay? These are people who are going to love your brand, share your brand, and help you market it, right? But you are going to scale slower. This is a fact of life, okay? You're going to spend more time at the front. You're going to front load the work for you to scale slower so you can actually maintain consistent growth. But you are going to make profit every single day, right? I would much prefer to be able to make profit every single day for 12 months than make a very large amount of revenue in a very short period of time, like 30 days. It does require a little bit more work, but obviously this is kind of what we're going for. 1 month, you can make profit. But if there's ad issues or you lose your ad account or any problems happen, month 2, you can just resell to existing customers because you've built a cultivated community of people who actually like you, okay? And your store continues to exponentially grow over time. So how does this happen? Well, this is something I like to call the cycle to success, okay? Here we are. This is you working on your business, sitting at your laptop or your desktop, right? You're working on your business. You need to spend a huge amount of your time working on the foundations, right? So, for example, and these are just 3 examples, but there are a lot more that go into this, right? First of all, brand socials. Okay, this is how you build your community and cultivate an audience. Cultivating an audience is very, very important because we're going to go through this in a second, right? But those are the people who are going to keep coming back and buying from you and sharing your products, right? You're going to build an email list because you know that when somebody buys or if they've checked out but they haven't purchased, you can get that person to come back, or you can then resell different products to your customers, right? You can launch a new product line and then sell to to existing customers, which means you can make more profit, right? You're going to spend time setting up support systems so you don't get people asking for disputes, or you don't get people leaving bad reviews, or people actually terminating your ad account by leaving you a bad feedback score, okay? So that's what you're going to front load your time with. Then you're going to focus on brand experience, and this is what I mean by brand experience, right? You have two sides of branding, okay? Most people, when I mention a brand, go straight to how do I actually custom package my product, right? How do I give it a cool logo or the design of the brand? And while that's important, what I actually mean is more experience, okay? So when somebody comes in onto your store, you spend some money on ads, right? Which means you get some traffic coming onto your store. This is your store here, okay? Then that person will then add something to cart. They will then check out. Then you have a customer service or customer support system designed to sustain that customer, okay? So from the second they purchase all the way to the point where they actually receive their item, they are now happy, okay? So throughout this process, there is a follow-up sequence. There is also a sort of support hub where if somebody's got any questions, they can go ahead and find answers to those questions, right? Or they always feel secure and safe in the knowledge that at some point, if something goes wrong, they are going to be able to get their money back, or there's going to be a solution for them that's going to be positive. They then receive their product and they have already had a good experience. Then the product arrives, the product's good, they have a really good experience, right? And then you enter the feedback loop stage. And this is really the thing that will happen as a result of this. And especially at scale, this makes a huge difference. The customer gets the product, they're really happy with it. This is them, they take a photo of the product, right, on their phone. They then share it to social media, right? This is Instagram. And as they share the posts to social media, now, not every single customer is going to do this, obviously, which is why this is a lot more useful to set up at the start and it works when you're at scale. But the point is, they then share your products to social media, which then does two things. One, well, actually does a few things, but one, it will actually show your brand as like an established brand that's reliable because customers have received products, right? Anybody who buys from your brand can instantly go ahead and research your product, okay? And if they go ahead and they research your socials and they see that you've got a good brand presence on there because you've been creating an organic content sort of feedback loop, but also they see that people have tagged you in photos of the products that they've received, they know it's a very high chance and likelihood that when they buy a product from your store, they are also going to receive a good experience, right? So what happens? Well, either they tell their friends about it or they post it to social media, which then leads to more people coming to your website, checking out, spending money on your store, and then being happy, right, and buying, okay? And again, everything beyond like this stuff is already set up in your business, okay? Because you've automated this, you've front-loaded all of this stuff, you built the foundations right at the start, which means as you dump more traffic in and as you get more customers sharing your products and giving you that feedback loop, you start to grow exponentially, which means you no longer have this little sort of blip of money that you make. You start to grow exponentially. Now, in the first sort of like month or two, it's very, very slow, okay? Because you are spending a huge amount of time on each customer, learning from each customer, making sure every customer's happy, emailing customers, and just basically making sure if anybody's got a problem, they can get in contact with your customer support until such time you have an automated system built up, which means when you start to scale your ads, you scale exponentially, but also you maintain that growth as the year goes on. And also, right, don't forget, right, as we build happy customers, right, and as we build a community, because we've set up the foundations, we start to get repeat income, repeat revenue, because people will come back and buy from our store again, right? So month one, we'll make some profit, right, ideally. But if we have any ad issues, we can remarket to those existing customers because they now like us, okay, because we've given them a good experience. This is exactly what things like Amazon do, right? Because they know the time that they spend on building these systems and these foundations for their business is going to help them in the long term. Now, most people, when they start with an e-commerce store, they don't bother with this stuff because for them, it doesn't make a huge amount of sense, right? For them, all they want to do is actually spend time on marketing because realistically for them in their mind, and maybe for you as well, right, marketing is the one thing that drives revenue. And if you're driving revenue, things must be good. But the problem is you then leave out a load of things that you should have done at the start, which means you have basically guaranteed yourself when all of the problems are happening in your business, you have the least amount of time to work on them, okay? And it comes from experience because if you've never had these problems before, you never know how to solve these problems. But what I am doing right now is I'm telling you that these things are going to happen. So what you need to do is actually front load the amount of time in your business with building products, okay? So what ends up happening, we're going to redraw this and we're going to come over here. So you end up having a graph that looks like this, okay? So very, very different to this, less chaotic and much easier to control. You end up spending a huge amount of time at the start, well, not huge, right? You know, a good few weeks at the start building a proper business, right? So you've gone from a very short, you've probably doubled or trebled the amount of time that you spent building the foundations, right? And there are ways of building automations and systems to speed this up. And if you join the free training, I'll show you about all of those. But you spend a lot of time basically working on the foundations and working in your business. Then you start your marketing, okay? The marketing obviously instantly starts to work because you spent a long time doing market research, making sure your product's going to help solve problems, building proper landing pages, making sure there's trust factor on your website by your customer support and all of that stuff, right? So then you start to make some revenue and profits. Now, here's a really cool thing. Because you've spent a huge amount of time working on the business at the start and making sure you've got those foundations built, you now have an increase in problems, which is inevitable because you've got increasing customers, but that will level off. It's not going to skyrocket out of control like it did in the previous one, okay? Because basically what's happening here is we have to spend less time in our business now because we spent a huge amount of time front-loading it. As we scale, we can spend more time on marketing and scale quicker. But because we've built a proper brand that kind of sustains itself now, we don't need to spend so much time. So we can actually scale quicker. Okay, so if you look over a sort of 6-month period, if you were able to get a store like this to sustain and actually survive, which is very, very unlikely, you would make more money in this one, even though you started later, because you can now spend more time on marketing and more time bringing on new customers. Not to mention, right, because you've actually built a community, or because you've actually built an audience base that likes your product and wants to come back and keep buying from you, you can make more profit, you can make more revenue, which means you can afford to spend more on ads to acquire a customer. So it basically is like an infinite sort of money glitch, basically. And the problem is your mindset is you're going to spend too little time on building your brand, first of all, and just diving straight into marketing. What you need to do is actually build the proper foundations in your business, okay? And it gets to this really cool point where eventually, right, you have all of these systems automated, and the more you put into your ads, you grow so much quicker because if we go back to this feedback loop, we get more and more happy customers, and more happy customers share the product more, talk to their friends more, leave reviews, leave positive reviews, make videos on it on TikTok, right? It's much easier for you then to scale that brand because just inherently people like your business because they know that they're going to get a good service. So if you've ever been in the position, right, where you have not been able to scale your store past $100 per day, and you want to be able to push it to $1,000, $2,000, $10,000 per day, and you want to be able to make revenue all year round, profit all year round, and basically build a business that will survive for multiple years, these are the steps you need to take. Now, there's a lot more that goes into this, and like I say, I am doing a free training, okay? So if you click the link down below this video, it will take you to my website. So it'll be a video like this. Underneath the video, go ahead and click this link. It'll take you to my website. You want to go ahead and click on this button here, register for the free training. I am doing one, depending on when you're watching this video, there'll probably be one in a couple of days' time. Go ahead and watch the video. I will also send you a free course. So you're going to get 3 hours of free content, which is going to teach you how to get past the rut you're in your business and continue scaling. And then we're going to do a free webinar where I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about scaling your business. Right, I'm going to do a case study on a multi-million-dollar a year e-commerce brand. So make sure you check your emails and turn up to the live training on time. But hopefully this video helped you out, guys. Hopefully there was some stuff in there that you didn't know before, and hopefully I've sort of solved a couple of the problems that you had in your business. If there's any other videos you want to see, or there's any other questions you have, make sure you go ahead and leave a comment down below and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.